Good evening, welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. A boy accused of murdering 15-year-old Alfie Lewis in Leeds gives evidence he says he only meant to scare him away. The defendant told the Leeds court he was sorry for causing Alfie's death but had not meant to kill him. Also tonight, there's anger over plans to block off railway arches used by homeless people ahead of Bradford's Year of Culture.
I think that, you demonstrate your culture by how you treat the poorest in society, not how you pander to the richest.
Despite record levels of rainfall, Yorkshire Water says it still can't rule out water restrictions for customers this summer. And 3 dads who want to raise awareness of suicide prevention arrive in Yorkshire as part of a new 500-mile challenge.
Well, if it's blue sky you're after, a taste of summer to come tomorrow with temperatures as high as 19 degrees. So don't miss that week ahead forecast.
Hello, hope you had a lovely weekend. Thanks for your company tonight. First of all, a teenager accused of murdering 15-year-old Alfie Lewis in Leeds has given evidence in court. He says he was carrying a knife because he was scared of the victim. Alfie was stabbed in Horsforth in November and died in hospital. We can't name the 15-year-old who's on trial because of his age. He told jurors he'd only wanted to scare Alfie and not to inflict any pain. Corinne Wheatley was in court.
Today, the 15-year-old defendant, who was 14 at the time of the stabbing, told Leeds Crown Court he was sorry but insisted he had not intended to kill Alfie Lewis or to hurt him. He said on the 7th of November last year he'd only carried a knife to scare Alfie away, not to inflict any pain. He told the jury he'd previously been in a fight in which Alfie had become involved in, and that some months later on Halloween, Alfie had tried to take some fireworks from him, chased him and threatened him, "When I catch you, I'm going to kill you." He said on the 7th of November he wore a pair of joggers underneath his trousers and hid a knife he'd taken from the kitchen drawer at home in the waistband. The defendant says he froze when he saw Alfie that afternoon. He said he pulled the knife from his waistband because Alfie was speed walking towards him and said he wanted to scare him away. The defendant said he'd swung the knife aimlessly through the air, but that at the time he didn't realise that it had made contact with Alfie. "I just did it to keep him from getting any closer," he said. "I thought he was going to grab my jacket, pull out a knife from his trousers and start stabbing me." Later, during cross-examination from the prosecution, the barrister Craig Hassel asked him what else was it going to do if not cause harm. "I thought it was going to scare him and keep him away," the defendant said. The prosecution said he was telling you to chill out. No, he didn't say it once. The prosecution again, he was saying, "What are you doing?" wasn't he? No, at the time I didn't hear him say that. Well, the defendant, who can't be named because of his age, denies a charge of murder. The trial continues.
Corinne Wheatley reporting there. Next tonight, there's anger at plans to block off railway arches used by homeless people in Bradford. Now, the council want to put up decorative panels and lighting in these spaces ahead of the city's Year of Culture in 2025 to create what they call an improved public realm. Our political reporter Aisha Iqbal has more details.
In just a few months, these arches are going to be blocked off and lit up with colourful panels and bright lighting, all in time for Bradford 2025 City of Culture. But for the small community of rough sleepers, for many of whom this space has become the closest thing to home, that's causing real worry.
We're here in the arches about 4 months. If they put us outside again, we will be homeless again.
It's not much of a community I have, but people are there for each other.
Even those involved in supporting the council in its work to help the homeless here have concerns about this plan.
And the thing about the plan that the council have come up with is just, I think, sad. I just think it's sad that this is what they've decided to do. And I think this place affords some safety and security for people who sleep rough. I don't think it does any service to the people who need our help down here. We're going to carry on giving some help directly to people on the streets. We're going to move our operation from this week to a place about 300 yards from here. So I think that you demonstrate your culture by how you treat the poorest in society, not how you pander to the richest.
Bradford Council's extensive outreach here recently featured in this BBC documentary. The council told us its teams visit the arches by Forster Square on a daily basis, and while some of those sleeping in the arches already have permanent accommodation, they are committed to ensuring everyone sleeping rough will be provided with a safe place to stay.
My main worry is where they're going to. They're like a little community. They say it's antisocial behaviour here, but it doesn't really solve the problem, just the gating all these off.
It could be a good shout, you know, just keep them away from the area where people are passing by. Sometimes they feel targeted.
I don't think it's ever that clear cut, is it? I mean, these people wouldn't be here if they had other places to live.
As concern over the impact of this plan on some of Bradford's most vulnerable deepens, the question many here are asking themselves is, are we a city of culture or a city of compassion? Aisha Iqbal, BBC Look North, Bradford.
You are watching Monday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. How Doncaster Rovers went from relegation struggles to a place in the playoffs. But before that, the family of a woman who died after being pulled from a river in North Yorkshire say she was a wonderful daughter, mum and auntie and little sister who will be sadly missed. Lisa Welford, who was 49, was taken to hospital after being found in the River Derwent in Malton on Wednesday. A man appeared in court today charged with her murder. Michelle Lyons has more details.
47-year-old Vincent Morgan of Chandler's Wharf in Malton appeared at York Magistrates Court this morning, charged with the murder of 49-year-old Lisa Welford. Lisa died after being pulled out of the River Derwent here in Malton just before midnight on Wednesday. She was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. Flowers have been laid close to where the rescue took place, and today Lisa's family paid tribute to her, saying she was a wonderful daughter, mum, auntie and little sister. They said she would be sadly missed and that they appreciate all the ongoing support that they've received from the local community and asked for their privacy to be respected. Two of Lisa's relatives were in court today to see Vincent Morgan appear before the magistrate. He was dressed in a grey long-sleeve T-shirt and jogger bottoms and spoke only to confirm his name, address and date of birth. He's been charged with murder, remanded in custody and will appear before Leeds Crown Court tomorrow morning.
Michelle Lyons there in Malton. Let's take a look at some of the day's other news now. South Yorkshire Fire and Rescue has issued a warning for e-bike users to check their batteries following a house fire in Sheffield. Firefighters were called to Eccleshall Road yesterday morning. They've said the fire was caused by the failure of a lithium battery in an e-bike which was on charge alongside 6 others in the living room. 5 people managed to evacuate, but 3 were taken to hospital after jumping out of a window on the first floor. A 14-year-old boy has died after a crash in Keighley. Police were called to Tarn Lane yesterday. The driver, a 21-year-old man, was taken to hospital and then arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving. He remains in custody. 2 other passengers suffered minor injuries. Now, we have seen record levels of rainfall over the past 18 months. This weekend was no exception, was it? But Yorkshire Water says it still can't rule out water restrictions for customers this summer. Paul's here now with his weekly weather view, where we answer your questions. Paul, it seems absurd to suggest a hosepipe ban when we've had such a huge amount of rain.
Well, that's right. Remember, only 2 summers ago, we did have that hosepipe ban that came in on the bank holiday Monday. That was an exceptionally dry summer. Let's go back over the statistics because, of course, it has been the wettest 18-month period across England on record. Sheffield had its second wettest autumn. Bramham had its wettest winter. So we have had many viewers getting in touch saying, you know, what are the chances of a hosepipe ban? As daft as it sounds, have Yorkshire Water taken all this water in and are we going to be OK? So I went up to Batings Reservoir and asked Yorkshire Water that very question.
No, Paul, I can't guarantee there'll be no water restrictions. It would be irresponsible given the climate variability and the changing climate we've seen over recent years. What I can say is it's very, very unlikely that we'll have any restrictions. The reason I say that is because reservoir levels are at 95% across Yorkshire. If we look at the drought in 2022, reservoir levels are 9.7% higher than they were in 2022. Groundwater levels are 16% higher, and area where we had problems in the Worth Valley, the reservoir levels are at 100%, and that's 10% higher than 2022. So I'm confident we won't, but I can't guarantee it.
Now, people might be watching this saying, hang on a minute, if they fixed all the leaks and they built more reservoirs, we wouldn't even be discussing restrictions on water.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's an interesting one. I mean, Dave there mentioned climate variability. You know, they've got records going back 130 years. And under normal circumstances, they probably would say we can guarantee no water restrictions, but we just don't know what's round the corner. We've broken so many records for dry weather and wet weather, they just don't know. The thorny issue of leaks. Well, Yorkshire Water will say that they have fixed 50% of the leaks over a time period, but campaigners will say time and time again that there's far too much water going out of leaky pipes, and if they were fixed, then they could probably guarantee no potential water restrictions this summer. Reservoirs, they're quite dismissive about that. They get more of their water from groundwater and river abstraction, and that's what they're going to spend money on. But again, perhaps viewers at home, there'll be a roll of their eyes, and campaigners, you know, wanting to say it again, that they will say that more needs to be done on leakage.
Paul, thank you. I wonder what next week's subject will be. It is over to you at home. If you've got a question for Paul, you can get in touch via WhatsApp. You can scan the QR code with your phone, or you can use the number on the screen and send us a message. We look forward to hearing from you. Next tonight, a railway policeman killed during the Second World War has been given a permanent headstone on his grave 82 years after his death. Robert Smith was one of 94 people who lost their lives in a bombing raid on York on this day in 1942. His family couldn't afford a headstone at the time, but now Robert has one. Olivia Richwald reports.
A solemn ceremony to remember railway workers killed 82 years ago in air raids on York. Robert Smith and William Milner were both working at York Station the night it was bombed. It took a direct hit and paraffin stored there set alight. 94 people, including Robert and William, died across York. It was the worst loss of life in the city during the war. William has a headstone, but Robert's family couldn't afford one.
Today was really about remembering Robert and the fact that his grave has, until today, been unmarked, but he really does, of course, deserve a gravestone, and so we're delighted that we've been able to make that happen.
Many of the others who lost their lives on April the 29th, 1942, are also remembered at York Cemetery, including this whole family.
In terms of collateral damage, loss of life, this was by far the most serious. Many of us now think, 80 years on, it was because of the railway that York was targeted, because all the bombs that night were really centred on the railway station, which is what we're commemorating here today.
Among the guests today was 98-year-old Normandy veteran Ken Cook. He was a teenager in York at the time and remembers the bombs.
And the following morning, on our front door, we had one of those iron knockers. And just below that there was a piece of shrapnel about 2 inches long, stuck in the door. As a veteran, I'm very proud to be representing the Normandy veterans on this occasion.
There is no picture of Robert Smith, and he has no family left alive. He was 64 when he died, was married and had 3 daughters. He is part of this city's history, and now Robert Smith will never be forgotten. Olivia Richwald, BBC Look North, York.
Time for some weather news. Not weather, we're coming to that shortly. Sports news, here's Sally.
Don't ask me to do the weather.
No, I don't think Paul could do the sport either.
Well, let's go to the sport. It's crunch time for our football teams, and this weekend saw 2 teams relegated, 2 teams in the playoff, and 1 team giving their worst performance of the season so far at the biggest moment. But let's start with the positives, shall we? Because Doncaster Rovers have pulled off an incredible turnaround. Having spent much of the season flirting with the relegation zone, they are now in the League Two playoffs. They didn't make it easy for themselves, though. They were 2 goals ahead at Gillingham before their goalkeeper was sent off for handling outside his area, and Gillingham got 2 back for the draw. That point, though, was enough to confirm the Rovers' place in the playoffs, to the relief of fans.
Everyone's had a great day, we've enjoyed ourselves, and Doncaster got the point they needed.
The form that we've had running to the end of the season and going from, near enough relegation position to one of the highest spots in the playoff positions, it's been incredible.
To say how far we've come, and it's quite amazing. It makes me feel quite special, really, because it's been quite a long time since being a Donny Rovers fan was actually, felt this good. So yeah, very happy. I think we'll win the playoffs.
League One are Barnsley. Despite a recent poor run of form which led to their head coach being sacked last Monday, their 1-1 draw with Northampton was enough to secure their place. There has been no such joy for Sheffield United fans, though. It's been a miserable season, and the Blades' relegation from the Premier League was confirmed.
Been too powerful for us right the way through the season. Today possibly epitomised in one game how it's been for a lot of the games. It stings, it hurts. And we have to own that and front it up.
Also fronting up to reality are Huddersfield Town, who needed a win to be in with a chance of Championship survival, but could only manage a 1-1 draw against Birmingham. That means the Terriers are all but relegated to League One for the first time in 12 years. Sheffield Wednesday, though, maintained their push towards Championship survival with a thumping 3-0 victory over West Brom at Hillsborough. The Owls are 3 points above the relegation zone with 1 game to go. Also with 1 game to go are Leeds United, whose chance of automatic promotion was dealt a huge blow on Friday night with their worst performance of the season so far. They lost 4-0 to QPR. They are now equal on points with Ipswich, who have a game in hand and play Coventry tomorrow. It looks like it will all go down to the wire on Saturday. In netball, Leeds Rhinos hosted Loughborough Lightning at the First Direct Arena, with the crowd really getting behind the team. Loughborough took an early lead, but the Rhinos fought back, taking the game to a close finish. But Lightning, who are current Super League champions, took the win by 64 goals to 56. And congratulations to 2 Leeds gymnasts, Luke Whitehouse and Harry Hepworth, who are bringing home medals for Great Britain from the European Championships this weekend. Luke took gold to retain his European floor title in Rimini in Italy, and Harry was part of the silver medal-winning team final. Both train at the Leeds Gymnastics Club. Great results for both of them in an Olympic year. And just time to mention that in cricket, Yorkshire have drawn against Derbyshire after bad light stopped play this afternoon. Amy.
Sal, thanks very much. Now, 3 dads from the northeast who are walking hundreds of miles to prevent young people taking their lives have arrived in Yorkshire. Andy Airy, Mike Palmer and Tim Owen all lost their daughters to suicide. And over the last few years, they've made it their mission to help others. Today, Leeds Rhinos legend Kevin Sinfield joined them as they walked the Yorkshire Dales to Leeds. So have they made it? Beth Parsons is with them now. Are they in fine form, Beth?
Oh, do you know what, Amy? They really, really are. They started in Scotland 12 days ago and they'll be finishing in Norwich next weekend. It's 500 miles of walking. That's a lot of walking. It's not flat either. Did a bit of maths and they are ascending 6 times Ben Nevis. That's the highest mountain in the UK. They're ascending that height throughout the 25-day challenge. I don't know how ready they are for that amount of height, but let's find out. Andy, you are halfway through the challenge. Mm-hmm. How are you coping? Stitches, blisters, how are you doing?
No, we're all right. Weary feet, I think, at the end of the day. Mike's got a bit of a grumbly knee. Mm-hmm. But no, we're getting through it okay.
You've done these challenges before, so you must be kind of getting used to it as you go.
Yeah, actually, it feels quite normal in as much getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, having breakfast, getting your kit sorted, packing bags and going out to start at 7:30. That all feels quite normal. The one thing that we launch ourselves into the unknown is we don't know who's going to join us during the day. And every day is different.
Very much so. Let's talk quickly about what brought you guys together. Obviously, you're up for a bit of a challenge, that's one thing, but you also tragically lost your daughters, Emily, Sophie and Beth. How much are you thinking about that as you go around every single step of this challenge?
We think about them every day, you know, we carry them with us, you know, but truth is we believe many other families just do not have to go through this awful grief that we see every day within our loved ones, you know. So yeah, they're always with us. They'll never go away. You know, we've all got. They broke our hearts, you know, but you know, we carry them with us.
Yeah. You welcome people to join in with the walk, whether they have been affected personally or if they just want to come along. You were joined by lots of people today, including a bit of a special guest.
Yeah, Kevin Sinfield came along and gave his support, which was fantastic, and it's great to have his support, someone like that, to lend, just give us his time really. He did offer, asked us to run with him in December, which we were reconsidering, but equally, equally we've been joined by, you know, tens of bereaved parents just today. And to hear their stories of their loved ones, it's not just one or two people, these are lots of people and lots of people affected. And the stories are all just so tragic. And as Mike said, you know, suicide is the biggest killer of under 35s in the UK. Some of these can be avoided. We can put suicide prevention, that's why our big aim is to put suicide prevention into the school curriculum. If we can save lives like that, surely prevention is much better than waiting for people to be in crisis.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of these parents say exactly the same thing, that you know, we need to get suicide prevention onto the school curriculum.
Definitely. You're doing an absolutely brilliant job. I know that if people want to find out more about what you're doing, you can track them on the route tracker. It was very useful today when I was trying to find you guys. Search 3 Dads Walking and you'll find that, and also can donate to the brilliant cause Papyrus, which is a suicide prevention charity. Great. Thank you all very much. Well done, and good luck for carrying on with day 14 of 25 days tomorrow.
Thanks, Beth. Thank you.
They look quite fresh, don't they? What a brilliant job they're doing. Fantastic dads they are. Now, I don't know if they've had different climate to us, but they've got suntans and they're in shorts.
I think it's,
is it different in the Dales?
I think it's rust, don't you? Because it's been such a rubbish month. I have to say, it's last day of April tomorrow. I can get that right. And it looks fantastic.
Oh, does it, please? Because we're so desperate. Oh,
19 degrees tomorrow. Yes. Can you believe that? Let's start with a couple of pictures because, I mean, we've been talking about Yorkshire water, haven't we? Washburn Valley. I mean, it's beautiful up there. You can see Fewston is definitely full. So thanks for sending that picture in. And the second picture, one I missed from the end of last week, but that is a picture of the Northern Lights. It's not Fewston, of course, it's near Whitby, near Reeton Sands, so a very nice picture there. Keep them coming in. If you want to get your picture on the television, the addresses are on your screen right now. So an early taste of summer once any cloud clears in the morning. Blink and you'll miss it, of course, but there will be some sunshine, lifting temperatures to the dizzy heights of 19 degrees. So after a rubbish month, it's ending on a bright note. A very complicated setup over the next few days. Mostly, I say mostly, these weather fronts should just stay to the south of us. A couple of things to pick up on. A run of easterlies along the coast, so it will be pretty chilly at times. But with a bit of spring sunshine this week, temperatures will be very pleasant and certainly a lot higher than they were last week. Now there's a weather front. It's been bringing some patchy rain into western and northern areas over the last few hours. It's going to continue to sort of wander around, but later tonight it begins to clear northwards. Still a lot of cloud across North and West Yorkshire, and we'll see temperatures coming in at around about 8 or 9 degrees. Tomorrow's high water times in Scarborough at 5 minutes past 9, Filey at 8 minutes past 9. So tomorrow a cloudy start across North and West Yorkshire, the Pennines, but clearer skies moving steadily northwards through the morning. And then a really nice day to come. A small chance of an afternoon shower. But look at these temperatures. We've not seen these temperatures for months and months since last autumn, of course. 19 in Leeds and York is 66 Fahrenheit. If you're at work, it's going to be lovely tomorrow evening, just the odd shower. That's a forecast.
Oh, lovely. We'll get the sundress out for one day only. Now, just going back to our last story about suicide prevention, go to bbc.co.uk/action line if you have anyone who's concerned. Thanks for your time. Good night.